It's great to be with y'all again. Were we here last year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I can't remember between COVID interruptions and everything else. So it's great to be. I did not pick South Carolina to beat Clemson last year. You must have been dreaming. You know, that must have been one of those dreams. I mean, I know I've got stupid written all over my face, but I don't have to back it up with my words. I hadn't picked the Gamecocks to beat Clemson in a while. And I'll go ahead and give you a spoiler alert. I'm not doing it this year either. You know? So, a sad note, I don't know if you've heard this, I come with a heavy heart for all of us who follow football. The tragedy at Dutch Fork last night. And they had a player that died in practice. Don't know the details yet. Just hate that, you know. This was a young man that was a starter on their offensive line. I think he was also either a state champion in track or wrestling. I'm not sure. I was just looking at his Twitter. So that's just a terrible, terrible tragedy. And don't know any details yet. But, I mean, the whole high school football world in South Carolina was rocked by that news. So we send out our best wishes to the family. That's just tough. But on to what's ahead for us here. You know, we still have one more weekend of freedom. Though this is week 0, there are some college football games this weekend around the country, just not around here. And then we crank it up a week from Thursday, Citadel and Coastal Carolina in Conway. In fact, I'll be at Coastal tonight. I've been doing my pigskin tour. So we did the 9th stop last night, was at Benedict. Let's see, what's today? Today's Wednesday. So let's see. Benedict was on Tuesday. Monday I was at, where was I Monday? I get them all. I'm going to Coastal tonight, Citadel tomorrow, and then next week Allen and Limestone. So we've done everybody else. I was at Wofford. I was at Wofford on Monday night, Benedict last night, and Coastal tonight. So really love getting around and meeting the coaches and meeting players too. You know, it's good to put faces to names and stuff like that. So we're ready to rock and roll, and looking at South Carolina and Clemson for the coming year. I mean, right now it's kind of a broken record. I wish we could, sing you a different song than we've done the past several years, but it's still the same. Clemson looks very, very good for winning the ACC once again. This game with Georgia is going to measure them quite a bit. They do have a few areas of concern, I'd say, going into the season. Every team does. Nobody's perfect. I mean, Uyangalele, have y'all been practicing that name? Let me hear it.
DJ.
Yeah, that's the cheap way out. Let's hear the Uyangalele. Uyangalele. Just let it roll off the tongue. And hope that he doesn't get hurt and they have to bring in Pumachan. Okay? All right? And that they don't get sacked by Ruki Oro Horhoro. I mean, Clemson has got some names on their team. It's crazy. But Uyangalele, it looks like, he's had a good camp. He's not going to be the runner that Trevor Lawrence was. Did y'all see Trevor the other night in that preseason game? He needs to run with that line he's got in Jacksonville. They were hitting him almost every time he dropped back. But big arm. He's a big kid. He's got a little bit of experience from last year. And, they feel like he's going to be excellent. And the receiving core, with Justin Ross coming back, Clemson and its miracle healing powers up there. It's just amazing how the most serious injury can get healed up in a short amount of time up there. Knees get healed, Achilles tendons get healed, et cetera, et cetera. And his, situation with his back all healed up, and he's ready to go. So look, they're going to play him in the slot. So imagine having him in the slot and E.J. Williams flanked out, another big, tall receiver. And then they've got Joe. Joe's had a really good camp, or it might be Frank Latson or Ngata or somebody else. They're loaded at wide receiver. So moving the ball through the air is going to be their forte once again. Running the football, the guy that's really caught everybody's attention up there is Will Shipley, true freshman out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He's really, really fast, and it looks like he might be the guy that's going to beat out the veteran backs, Lynn J. Dixon, for example, or Kobe Pace. Who knows? They've got several, but hearing a lot about him at this point. One of the question marks would be the center position. which is not an area that you want to have a big question mark, going into your season. They've been rotating a couple of guys. It looks like right now, it could be their starting left guard from last year, Bockhorst, moving to center, and that puts a freshman, Marcus Tate, starting at left guard, along with Jordan McFadden, who's a veteran, but he moved from right tackle to left tackle. So that's kind of a brand new left side for Clemson. You got a new starter at right tackle. So they've got a little bit of, learning as they go along on the offensive line and starting off against an outstanding Georgia defensive front a week from Saturday night. That's going to be a real test for them. So let's see what kind of offense Clemson can put out there. And then defensively, of course, their defensive line looks fantastic. It's maybe the best in the country. Some say Georgia. Ohio State's really good up front, but Clemson's defensive ends galore. Xavier Thomas from here in Florence has come back from COVID and his injuries and all that, and they say he looks great. Again, everything is hearsay because we don't get to see him in practice. But they are deep and they are talented on the defensive front. Linebackers look good. I think the secondary looks better than it has from what we're hearing out of camp. Sounds like the coverage abilities of some of these guys, that's improved. So they feel really good about their defense. And this Georgia game, it's a redemption game for the Clemson defense when you think about it. Really, the last two times they have played a team in a marquee setting like this game on Saturday night a week from now, they've been just blasted as a defense. Remember, 2 years ago, LSU with Joe Burrow just went up and down the field on them, and then last year, Ohio State and Justin Fields did the same thing. They put huge numbers against Clemson's defense. So, for all the prestige and tradition that they have, the last two times in the big setting, the defense hasn't been very good. They've been handled by good offenses. I don't know that Georgia's offense is going to be as good as the offenses that they faced. I mean, JT Daniels is really good at quarterback. They're deep at running back. They've got some injuries on the offensive line they're dealing with, some injuries at wide receiver they're dealing with. Maybe their most talented player has left the team, the transfer from LSU, Arik Gilbert. So they're missing him right now. Potential starting tight end, Darnell Washington, is out. They've had some injuries. So I don't know that Georgia's going to have all the bullets in the gun offensively. And it might be good, be a good night for the Clemson defense. So, look, if Clemson beats Georgia, they're a slight favorite. That would be great for them. It's not going to affect, if they lose, either one that loses is still going to have a chance to make the playoffs because now they can go, if they can win their league championship, they're going to be in the playoffs, and that's the ultimate goal here, of course, is at this point in time to be in the playoffs. So even if Clemson were to lose to Georgia in a mild upset, and some wouldn't call it an upset at all, they run the table the rest of the way. They go 11-1. They win the ACC championship game over North Carolina or Miami probably. They'll be right in the playoff hunt once again. So it sets up well for Clemson. They've got the softest schedule in the country, according to ESPN, and that's the way they like it. They get it set up pretty well for them every year. So, if you're Clemson, why would you even consider going anywhere else? It's like I think I've said this to y'all before. Clemson lives in Beverly Hills, nice and cushy, and South Carolina lives in South Chicago, where it's you step out your door and it's you might not go back inside your door. I mean I'm not making fun of a bad situation there, but that's the difference where the two reside. And in the future the Gamecocks get to play Oklahoma and Texas every so often in the SEC. So things look good for Clemson. Same story. It's just a broken record up there right now. They continue to recruit at a very high level. They haven't gotten everybody they wanted that was on their board, but they've gotten most of them. They got their quarterback for next year in Cade Klubnik, a kid out of Texas who got promoted to 5-star status, however that works. So they like him a lot. They've addressed their secondary situation, several corners in this class. So it's a class that's still building, but it's going to be another top 10 class. So things continue to go extremely well up at Clemson.